guys, welcome back to Hunting My Boyfriend. You're listening to episode 3. My name's Grace, and this is my boyfriend,
Josh.
And today we're going to be doing a theme instead of a location. Josh does not know the theme, but I kind of have a backstory to it, so yeah, let's go ahead and jump on in, I guess. If you want to follow us on anything, go ahead and follow on whatever platform you're on, and check out our links down below. But is that pretty much it?
That's it.
I think that's pretty much
the
it.
Gist.
So, a little backstory. I had one of my pets pass away like a year ago. A year and a month, actually. And it sucked. It was pretty sucky. Or was it 2 years?
2 years ago. Yeah,
it was 2 years. That's even more sucky. He was a pretty big part of my life. He was a bunny. I was really sad about it. So, I just randomly got like a $5 Etsy pet reading. And it was crazy because I've gotten readings on Etsy before, and usually I don't like get too excited because they're probably a scam. But this one was crazy. She described my entire house. She described the colors in my house. She described like what he was doing, where he was, my backyard. It was the craziest thing ever. So I got to thinking, what happens to pets after we die? Do you know? Do you have a, like...
Do I know?
Do you,
no.
do you
no,
know? Do you have, like, a... Like, what do you think?
I don't know.
You don't think?
I don't.
You don't think about it?
Never thought about it.
I remember, I think every single person who grew up Christian, or, like, grew up going to church or in a Christian school, has a very traumatic story of how someone told them that animals don't go to heaven. So, I remember mine. I was in the 8th grade. I was sitting in science class, and the teacher was the pastor's wife.
Right.
And she told me that animals don't go to heaven because they don't have souls and they live off of instincts. So they don't know right from wrong, so they just die.
Right.
And they're just not. And she ruined my life that day. And ever since then, I've deeply wondered what happens to animals because I don't think they just disappear.
Right.
But, like, people don't talk about ghost animals the same amount that they talk about people animals.
No, not at all.
And that makes me wonder, like...
People animals? People ghosts?
People ghosts, yeah. So, where are they? People talk about animals, but not that much. And then I personally like to believe that when your animal passes away, especially if it's too soon, it's because they were meant to be your guardian angel.
Oh, yeah?
But, like, that's also just me thinking.
It is. It is.
There's no logic behind that. So all of that to say is today we're going to be talking about paranormal things that happened after people's pets passed away. So pet ghosts.
Heard that. Risky.
So me being the researcher that I am, looking for only credible sources, nothing else, I immediately went up to Reddit and I typed in pet ghosts. And I found a unique, fun little thread. And we're going to go through it. We're going to read about their ghost stories, because there's like 500 in here. 236 comments, so I may have been exaggerating.
Son, that's a lot.
We're not going through every single one.
I could imagine.
But,
not.
Yeah. So, the first one, this is the person who posted it. They said, has anyone here thought they experienced the presence of a pet's ghost? And this is the little summary they put under it. I've been thinking back to a year ago when my dog died. In the months following, I would sometimes feel like she was still around, and occasionally I just saw her in my peripherals, or thought I saw her. After I hadn't seen or felt anything for about a week, it felt like I was finally past my grief. I don't know for sure, of course, but I kind of wonder if she was around for a while, then moved on. Anyone had a similar experience? I have. So, I had a dog that passed away. She died too soon. It was my junior year. I was away. I was in Knoxville visiting a friend, and while I was gone, my sister had brought a puppy home off of the side of the road, and she was in high school, so she, like, didn't immediately get it vaccinated, didn't quarantine it, like, she was dumb. And that puppy got parvo, gave my dog parvo, and when I came home, I was literally gone for, like, 2 days. She was gone. Like, she was dead.
Yeah.
And my mom waited to tell me until I got home. Luna, get out of here.
Lulu.
So, obviously I was devastated. Her nickname was actually Lulu. Her name's Lucy. But her nickname was Lulu. And ever since then, I have theories that she was, like, she's my guardian angel. Like, I could go into hours of theories. Like, So she slept under my bed, and I
Right.
had a wooden floor, and I would always hear scratching under my bed after she died. And then
Spooky.
do you remember how I told you? So guys, I'll talk about this one day when I feel a little better. But there's a certain doll that I 100% believe cursed my whole family. I will tell you that story one day. But a lot of really, really bad things happened. And when I left to go to college, every single night until my junior year, like middle of my junior year, I would wake up and see him sitting at the end of my bed.
That's weird.
It was very creepy. It was
potato head.
really, really, really weird. And my friend and I were talking about it one day. She's very intuitive. She's very, like, we both think that we're both a little psychic on the psychic side. But she and I were just talking about it, and we decided one day that Lucy always slept at the end of my bed.
Right.
And she never slept at the top of me. She was like a lab. So she was like a lab mixed with, like, a Weimaraner or, like, a Greyhound, like, something thin like that.
Mm-hmm.
So she was big, so she slept at the end of my bed. And we think that he couldn't get closer, and he couldn't actually get to me because Lucy was laying at the end of my bed.
Right.
As my guardian angel. So, that was a thing. And then after Casper died, who was my bunny that passed away a couple years ago, Katie and I would see him around the house. Katie was my roommate. We would see him around the house just, like, out of our peripherals. He was a little black bunny. He was, like, 2 pounds. We would just see him run by out of our peripherals. And then when he first passed away, I would see him sitting in your music studio watching us. Because we slept in your music studio for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I would see him when I went to bed. But I also, like, was like, am I just having, like, psychosis?
Am I speaking?
Yeah, am I so upset that I'm just having, like, psychosis? But, yeah, we did see him running around that house sometimes.
It's strange.
I don't think I've seen him since I moved here. Unless I've been, like, meditating and been like, hey, Casper.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, my eyes were closed, I was meditating.
Right.
Damn, your computer is humming.
Yeah, so it's just the fans.
Yeah, so if y'all hear Josh's computer fans, he has a full video game set up behind us, and he's been playing video games all day, so his fans are working double time.
Yes.
But those are my stories. You don't have any animal stories?
Like ghost animal stories?
Yeah.
I think I got plenty of animal stories.
Like Nacho or Winnie or...
No, bro, but as soon as Nacho died, like the day after, when I went to the house, there was like 4 black cats in the driveway. I have it on video.
He was probably trying to tell you he was
There's like a gang of them.
Nacho was a black cat, and Josh had him for like 17 years.
Forever, yeah.
Yeah, like he grew up with this cat, and he died kind of like unsuspectingly.
Yeah.
You did not know he was gonna die. So, it was, I would say it's traumatic.
Sure.
I mean, losing him sucked.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah.
That's my Nacho.
We're gonna get a black cat when we don't rent anymore. Because we already have 2 bunnies, 2 dogs, and a snake, so.
It's a lot.
But yeah, let's get into reading some of these. When my dog died about 30 years ago, I would often hear her squeaky ball in the middle of the night, and I'm sure I saw her in her kennel once or twice.
It's gonna be you, Lou.
Don't
Squeaking
tell him
shit
that!
all the time.
Or was it just because I was so used to seeing and hearing her that I just... It's like an expectation. That's what I thought, but then, like the scratching with Lucy, there's no way. But it also could have been something darker, because I think our house had, like, demonic entities in it.
The old house? Yeah, probably. The house is old. Super old.
No?
The old farmhouse?
We built that house.
Oh.
It was on, we think it was on Native American.
Oh, you're talking about that old house. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad. Wrong house. I was thinking of.
Which one were you thinking of?
University.
Oh, no. That one was new, too.
Yeah.
They added the part we lived in. But no, I don't, that's what scares me, is I don't know if it was Lucy or if it was something darker. Right. But then with Casper, the parts where we would see him, he was never there. Like, he never left my room. He stayed in my room. And we would see him, like, in the living room or in the hallway.
Right.
So we know, like, it wasn't him. We also think Katie's grandpa haunted that house. Or didn't haunt that house, but he, like, was around a lot.
Just chilling?
Yeah, because he was a miner, and we would hear, like, mining boots, like, walking around.
You can differentiate the boots?
Yeah.
To specific mining boots.
Katie can. She grew up in, like, mining world. She's like, those are for real. Those are definitely mining boots.
Those are for
I don't know. We think my room was 100% haunted. But this is not about me and my room. We need to get it moving. Someone said, I've told this story on the subreddit before, but when my first dog had to go on after a long struggle with debilitating arthritis, I worry about that with Luna, and we need to get him on arthritis supplements. EV2.
Arthritis?
Yeah, or hip stuff.
He'll be okay.
It's a big thing in German Shepherds.
He's a big boy.
Okay, anyway. My upstairs neighbors sent their Chihuahua, who often did sleepovers with us, down to spend the night with me that first night. She was an amazing cuddler and a great help. That's sweet. That night, I had an extremely vivid and slightly weird dream. I dreamt of my dog running pain-free down a beach with Adam West in his 1960s Batman outfit, looking on.
Adam West, bro.
Hands on his hips, nodding in approval. Mr. West died the day before my dog. Adam West from Family Guy?
That would be the same Adam West, yeah.
I just want to make sure.
He's the original Batman.
Okay. I woke up and had that was a weird moment. I went to the bathroom.
Batman with the eyebrows, you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever seen that?
We're
you know what I'm talking about, though? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they showed it on Family Guy. I went to the bathroom, moving the Chihuahua from between my legs. When I opened the door to my bedroom, my dog's favorite ball, the only toy he ever played with, rolled across the hall. There was no physical way that could happen. I lived in a cellar with little to no airflow, and I had left the Chihuahua in the bed behind me. There was no one around. I was filled with certainty that he was telling me he was okay and was waiting for me. I'm gonna sob. I've always been a believer in the paranormal and have had other experiences I can't explain, but that was the one that convinced me 100%. Since then, I've occasionally dreamt of that dog in that beach. No Batman, though. A couple years later, my next dog got cancer. It was a long fight with a lot of sacrifices on both our parts. Multiple surgeries, chemotherapy, hormones, but she was losing and we both knew it. The veterinary oncologist and I decided to stop treatment and just try to keep her as comfortable as possible for the next couple of months with the end coming. Around the time of that decision, I started to have vivid dreams that my first dog and the old neighbor Chihuahua, who had passed about a year prior, were in my little studio apartment. The dreams were like, oh, I better put some extra food, water out. Very matter of fact to my dream self that they were both just staying with us. Then one night, I was sitting on the couch, and it was getting late, so I decided to go to bed. I grabbed my phone, and as I did so, I hit the side button in the way that turns on the camera. This happens a lot, so I instinctively moved my thumb to shut off the camera, but in that less than a second that it took to do so, I very clearly saw my first dog jumping off the couch on my phone screen through the camera lens. It was so quick and so weird that before I registered mentally, I had turned the camera back on, but I couldn't see him, of course. My sense of it all is that my boy and his cousin, the Chihuahua, knew my girl with the cancer didn't have a lot of time left and came back to get her, which is why I kept dreaming of them in the apartment and saw him on the camera. It'll be a year since my girl with the cancer passed in the coming week. I'm hoping to get a visit in my dreams or something from her to mark the occasion. I miss her so much.
Mm-hmm.
I will cry. Also, guys, you know how my dog, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want him to get up, is panting or has been panting in the last 2 episodes. Tell me why in this one he is laying on me asleep. And he doesn't do this. Like, not even when I'm in here, like, watching Josh play video games. He doesn't do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's sweet. Okay. Another one. What are you playing with?
A piece of plastic from the 3D printer.
You're slightly driving me insane.
My bad.
Just slightly, though. I just visited back home at my parents', caught up on a lot of stories. Their lost dog was I can't talk today. Their last dog was a goofy, sweet half-pit and black lab. The dog pound must have seen my mama coming in that day. Anyway, my mom asked them, would Butch grow taller than 12 inches? These people said it would only be 6 inches tall. Anyway, my parents keep Goofy Butch for over 10 years. He grew to almost a Great Dane proportions and had the distinctive python-looking head. Dang. I truly say he was a gentle giant who hated weed whackers, clotheslines drying, especially nightgowns and long-sleeve shirts. Poor Butch passes away but was loved to the end. He was an excellent watchdog and no one messed with him. Last year, Butch has been gone 2 years at this point. Their neighbor called my dad and said did they get a new dog, because while my parents were out, he saw what he thought at first was Butch walking around the house. Since the gate was open, my parents left the middle gate to the carport open. He went to check. He followed the dog around the house. The home is small. The dog vanished once it made the corner. The man had walked back to the gate. No dog. Several other people have seen a black dog patrolling the house while my parents are away. If they try to get the dog out, the dog disappears. Just old Butch continuing to protect my parents. Luna, I'm going to need you to protect us beyond the grave. Well, you're kind of bad at it. Evie, I'm going to need you to protect us from beyond the grave. He's like, I don't even do that now, guys.
I'm trying to take a nap.
I was 8 years old. My best friends had just moved away, and I was super sad. Mom got me Boots the kitten. Every day Boots waited for me, looking out the window for when I got home from school. She slept with me every night, even when it was hard for her to climb my bunk bed. When Boots got older, my mom started letting her outside. One day while we were home getting groceries, I heard my mom gasp hard. Oh no. She saw what I didn't. Boots had been struck by a vehicle. I was devastated. That happened to me when my cats got hit by a car. Her name was Misty.
I don't see how a cat gets hit by a car. Cats are smart.
They're smart, but they're not as fast as a car.
They're quickens. That motherfucker must have been cooking then.
Ours was in our neighborhood. It was 2 houses down. Our neighbor called my mom and was like, "We think your cat
got smacked."
Hit." Yeah.
Cat got smacked.
It was really sad. Why was someone going that fast in the neighborhood, by the way?
Shit, I don't know.
Anyway, that night when I was crying myself to sleep, I was curled up in fetal position. I was laid on the top bunk next to my window, and the moonlight was shining through. I heard scratching on the wood of the ladder, but I ignored it. Then I felt pressure behind my knees of a kitty curling up. She always slept there, too. I twisted my upper body so I could get a look behind my knees without moving my legs. There she was in the moonlight, kind of see-through, but I could see her clearly. She was shimmery in the moonlight. I was shocked, blinked, and then she was gone, and the pressure was gone. I'm 33 now, and I know the difference between hallucination, imagination, and an experience. And that was an experience. I almost cry every time I retell this story. But I wonder where she went. Like, where did she go after she blinked?
The cat?
Yeah.
Well,
was she still there? She just, like, wasn't using as much energy?
Probably. I don't know.
That's what I want to know. Like, what happens after that?
Well, you're asking
do they cross the Rainbow Bridge without you, or do they wait for you?
Rainbow Road?
Bridge. There's a Rainbow Bridge, I think it's in North Carolina, where you can bring, like, it's for animals that have passed away. And you, like, bring their collars there and leave them on there, and it's, like, really sad, but it's sweet at the same time. I don't think I would want to leave.
Yeah, probably not.
My pet's, like, collar, like, the last thing I have of them there.
Right.
But I would definitely go visit and leave something else there, like a tag with their name on it.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to have to visit one day.
Okay.
For all the pets that we've had that gone too soon.
Okay.
This one says, it was like 3 weeks after my cat's death. She was a big, long, black cat with thick, short hair and a round face. Pumpkin. At the time I had another black cat, Normal, but she had some white on her chest area. She was also much smaller and thinner than Pumpkin. We also had a kitten, Rose, who was a tuxedo with a bright pink nose. We got her after Pumpkin passed away. I slept with my mom on a weekend. I woke up at like 8 a.m. with Rose sleeping in my lap. I saw movement and I watched a black cat walk under my mom's desk. No biggie, just normal. But I watched as the cat kept going into the wall and literally faded into the wall. I was really confused. I thought maybe Normal had just blended into some black laundry in the corner or something. Then I looked down the hallway and Normal was sitting on the rug we had, a good 15 feet away from where I swore I had just seen her. Creepiest thing ever. See, that makes me question, though, like, you know how we were talking about how some people believe that ghosts exist on the plane from when they were alive?
Right.
And that's why they can walk through walls, because the walls weren't there when they were alive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the wall was there when the cat was alive.
Yeah.
So why can he walk through it?
It's going to Narnia.
Okay. But yeah, that clears it up for me, thanks.
That's it. Yeah.
This is another one.
Normal.
Not Normal, Pumpkin.
It's normal.
Okay. You just like that name better.
I do.
This is another one. Not experienced directly by me. My friend was staying the night over for the first time. I was showing her around my house and showed her Pumpkin's photo next to her urn. My friend said to me, "That cat can't be dead." And I was like, huh? She died in 2011. It was 2015 at the time, quite a bit after she died. And then my friend said something that scared me. No, I just saw that cat down the hallway. It stopped and looked at me for a good 3 seconds, then continued walking. I asked her if she was sure she saw Pumpkin, as it could have been Normal. She said, "No, Normal has green eyes. This cat had those beautiful orange eyes," while pointing to the photo of my dead cat. So if this cat was still around 4 years later, that makes my heart...
He's chilling for Normal, Grace.
He's waiting for all of his friends.
For Nerms.
Oh boy, this one's a long one, so buckle up.
That is a great... Oh, buddy.
Let's see if I can read all of this without messing up. Okay. It was a hard decision, but we put off making. Already messed up.
I already fucked it up.
It was a hard decision that we put off making. We kept thinking she would be fine, and then she didn't rally. But it became obvious that it was her time. We had her for 13 years, and we loved her dearly. She was a gentle and sweet German Shepherd mix. About a week or two after she was put down, I awoke thinking that it was morning, as the room was bright with light. Looked at the clock. It was just after 4 a.m. I soon realized that it wasn't daylight, that there was a light on in the living room that was shining right into our bedroom. I got up and turned it off. I stumbled to the bathroom to pee, and as I was sitting there peeing, I wondered about how that light came on all by itself. Weirder still, I realized that the light was on in the shower of the bathroom as well. I can be only partially awake and function, probably why I didn't notice the second light right away. I had not left that light on either. I turned off the shower bathroom light and went back to bed. As I lay in bed, I thought how weird those two lights being on were. I knew that I was the last one to go to bed and that all the lights were off. I later checked with my wife and daughter, who both assured me that they did not get up in the middle of the light, let alone turn on any night. That they did not get up in the middle of the night, let alone turn on any lights. Since I was a little freaked out, it took me a while to get sleepy again. I felt like I was drifting in and out when suddenly I hear a screeching sound on the hardwood floors next to our bed. It was the exact sound that our old dog used to make as she tried to get up from the floor. It was hard for her old bones, and she would stumble and struggle to get her footing on the slippery floor due to her advanced age. Her nails would make this distinctive sound on the floor as she struggled to get up. This gentle scratching sound lasted a few seconds. I was not asleep. As I said, I was drifting off, but very much aware of the morning chirping of the birds outside when I heard the noise. Birds. Oh my gosh.
Birds.
I said birds.
Birds.
I knew it wasn't our other dog as he was sleeping on the bed with us. About 15 minutes go by and I hear the exact sound again. I wasn't freaked out by this experience at all as it's happening. I feel that perhaps my dog is telling me that we made the right decision in putting her down, which was very hard on us. We not only felt bad for having to put her down, but also waiting so long to do it, and that we had selfishly caused her extra suffering. Hearing this made me feel like not only did we make the right decision, but we also made it at the right time. It helped me feel like she was there with me and she was okay now. That's sad.
Yeah.
The ones where, like, you have animals that are, like, the same breed or the same age are really hard. My old boy Terry was an excellent dog. He was a big, silly black lab retriever with brindled bits on his muzzle and legs, apparently from a distant collie relatives. He was loving and gentle, and I sobbed for weeks when he died at nearly 14 years old. He visits me all the time. He regularly comes to see me in my dreams, where he's happy and healthy, looking shiny-coated and bushy-tailed like he was in his prime, eyes shining and tongue lolling out of his mouth in happiness. He plays with our current family dog in my dreams, too. They would have loved each other in life. I was having issues sleeping one night and feeling very upset, and I remember getting up to possibly grab a drink or something. When I returned, his paw print was clearly visible on our leather couch, just like it used to be when he was alive and would get off the couch to come with you to see what you were up to. I cried a lot, but was so pleased he'd left a sign for me. In our current house, we have a ghost cat named Davy. After the renovations were finished and my husband and I had lived there for a few weeks, I kept seeing a little white cat slipping around the corners of doors. I've had issues with hallucinating in the past, so I chalked it up to that. But after a while, when I kept seeing the little guy, I asked my husband if his aunt and uncle, who owned our house previously, had ever owned a white cat. They had. My husband was surprised that I'd asked, and even more surprised when I said I'd seen him. I learned the cat's name and also that he ruled the roost when he was still alive. We have 2 cats now, and occasionally they'll investigate something we can't see. My husband has also seen Davy and has heard him jumping off the bed upstairs. A distinctive thonk-thonk.
Thonk-thonk.
It's important to note that my husband has never had any issues with hallucinations either. We frequently hear the sound of a cat collar clinking on the ceramic bowls we have for our cats, and I've heard purring in empty rooms. I do like living in this house. I can feel all the happiness that is here, and I'm pleased Davy feels safe enough to come back to visit. I love it every time I get to see him, or when Terry visits me in my dreams. Maybe when animals pass away, they just, like, don't feel the need to come back to visit.
They just talk.
No. Because I believe that, like, you can go to heaven, but you can also come back. So, it's like, you can do both. Or you can watch us, like, from heaven, kind of like a TV.
Okay.
So, I'm wondering if, like, they just don't feel the need to because they miss us, but animals don't really live in the future or the past, so, like, they don't feel guilty for not coming to see us.
Right. So they're here.
So, like, maybe they come and visit, but, like, they're happy to be there because, like, it's awesome.
Right?
Like, they're like, yeah, I'm living my best life.
Like, I'm chilling.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Bunnies are fighting.
I know. Literally, they're not fighting. They're just...
Trying to fight.
No. They're just...
Attempting to beat the shit out of each other?
They're having an argument.
Okay. Let's call it that.
Which is weird because they didn't start arguing until we started talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're thudding. We don't know if they're arguing because every time we go in there, they're like looking very suspicious but not doing anything. But we can hear them like throwing things. So very weird that they didn't like start acting up literally until we started filming. So maybe Casper's in there just riling them up.
Stirring up the pot.
Stirring up the pot. He's like, which one of you is the better bunny?
Oh, yeah.
Prove it. But, yeah, I think we're going to end it here. Let me know if you guys want more themed episodes. I have plenty of pet sighting ones.
I know.
This one was a tearjerker.
It was.
I think twice. I felt it. I felt the tears are coming.
They were coming.
But, oof. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I mentioned, all of our links are down below. Don't forget to follow on whatever platform you're on. If you are on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please, please, please leave a rating or a review. It would mean the absolute world to me. It takes about 2 seconds, is free, and blows up the podcast. So I would really appreciate it. Other than that, I think that's it. The link to my other podcast is down below. The link to all of our other stuff is down below. And I will see you guys on Monday for our next podcast episode about something spooky. Yeah, something else going on. Probably spooky, though. I can guarantee that. So, yeah, I think that's it. Bye, guys.